Right now, as you are watching this, a massive storm system is tearing across the United States, and it has already spawned violent tornadoes, record-breaking hail over 6 inches in diameter, and left behind a trail of destruction across multiple states. But here is what nobody is telling you. This is not one storm. This is 3 storms, back to back to back, and the second and third ones are even stronger than the first. Over 90 million Americans are in the direct path of severe weather today. And if you live anywhere from Texas to New York, from the Gulf Coast to the Great Lakes, you need to hear what is coming next. Stay with me for the next few minutes, because I am about to break down exactly when these storms will hit your area, city by city, hour by hour. I am covering over 270 cities and locations across the United States. And if you want to know exactly what is heading toward your neighborhood, drop a comment right now with where you live, and I will give you a direct forecast. But first, let me tell you what has already happened, because the damage reports coming in right now are staggering. Yesterday, we saw violent tornadoes rip through Indiana and Illinois, one of the most dangerous hit Kankakee, Illinois, and the footage coming out of that area is absolutely devastating. Homes flattened, trees stripped bare, entire neighborhoods completely leveled, and that was not the only one. Damage reports are flooding in from Aroma Park, Illinois, and multiple other communities across the region. So far, there have been over 16 confirmed tornado reports, and that number is still climbing as survey teams get out into the field. But here is the number that stopped me cold. We had hail in Illinois that measured over 5 inches in diameter. Let me put that in perspective for you. A baseball is about 2.8 inches across. This hail was nearly twice the size of a baseball. And in some areas, the hail reached 6 inches. That is the size of a softball. Imagine chunks of ice the size of softballs falling from the sky at over 100 miles per hour. That is what communities in Illinois experienced last night. Now, I promised you at the top that the next 2 storms are even stronger, and I am about to show you exactly why. But before I do, here is your reward for sticking with me this far. I am going to give you the exact timing breakdown for every major metropolitan area in the path of these storms. Not vague generalities, exact windows. When it starts, when it peaks, and when it ends for your city. That is coming up in just a moment, and you will not find this level of detail anywhere else. So let us talk about what is happening right now, today, this very moment as you are watching this. We still have an active, severe weather threat across a massive portion of the eastern United States. The Storm Prediction Center has issued a slight risk of severe weather that stretches from New Jersey all the way back to the Gulf Coast. That covers approximately 80 million people under threat right now. And within that area, there are 2 zones where the danger is significantly elevated. The first zone is the Ohio Valley. We are talking about Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Columbus, Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, Charleston, West Virginia. This entire corridor has a 30% probability of damaging winds within 25 miles of any point. That means if you live in this zone, there is nearly a 1 in 3 chance that damaging winds will pass within 25 miles of your home today. And these are not gentle breezes. We are talking about wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour. That is strong enough to snap large tree limbs, flip over unsecured trampolines and patio furniture, and cause widespread power outages. The second zone is the Deep South: Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and portions of Arkansas and Texas. This zone has what meteorologists call an Intensity 1 designation, which means we are watching for the possibility of winds exceeding 75 miles per hour. That is hurricane force. Let me say that again. There is a risk of hurricane-force wind gusts across portions of the Deep South today, not from a hurricane, from a line of severe thunderstorms. Now here is where it gets really interesting, and I need you to pay close attention to this part. We have a hatched area for tornadoes today that covers Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, Maryland, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. A hatched area means there is at least a conditional risk of strong tornadoes, not just tornadoes. Strong tornadoes. We are talking about the possibility of EF2 or higher. An EF2 tornado has winds between 111 and 135 miles per hour. That can tear the roof off a well-built home. An EF3, which is also within the realm of possibility today, has winds between 136 and 165 miles per hour. That can level entire city blocks, and there is a real chance of that happening today in this zone. Let me explain why the storm mode is so critical today, because this is the factor that determines whether we get a few tornadoes or a lot of tornadoes. Right now, there is a tremendous amount of cloud cover and existing convection across the region. If that cloud cover and existing storm activity clears out ahead of the main event this afternoon, then sunshine will warm the surface, instability will build rapidly, and we will get isolated supercell thunderstorms forming out ahead of the main squall line. Those discrete supercells are the ones that produce the biggest, most dangerous tornadoes. They are the lone wolves of the storm world, feeding on all the energy around them without competing with other storms. But if the cloud cover does not clear out, if the existing storms keep the atmosphere worked over and messy, then we are more likely to see a line of thunderstorms with tornadoes embedded within them. Those embedded tornadoes are still dangerous, do not get me wrong, but they tend to be weaker and shorter-lived than the ones produced by discrete supercells. So the difference between a bad day and a catastrophic day today comes down to whether or not we get sunshine this afternoon. And right now, the models are split on that question. Some models clear the clouds out and show a very volatile atmosphere. Others keep it overcast and messy. We will not know the answer for certain until it happens in real time, which is why you need to be monitoring conditions closely all afternoon. There is one more factor I want to mention about today's setup, the dew points. I touched on this briefly, but it deserves more attention because it is truly remarkable. We are seeing dew points in the low 60s degrees Fahrenheit across Pennsylvania and New York today in early March. To put that in context, average dew points in Pennsylvania in early March are typically in the 20s and 30s. We are running 30 to 40 degrees above normal for moisture. That amount of atmospheric moisture is what you normally see in May or June, not in the first week of March. And it is that extraordinary moisture that is fueling the severe weather potential today and making strong tornadoes possible this far north this early in the season. But wait. There is another tornado zone forming down in the deep south, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana. This area also has significant tornado parameters showing up on the models, with values running between 2 and 4 at the peak. For those of you who follow severe weather closely, you know that when those values get above 2, you start getting very concerned. Let me give you the hour-by-hour breakdown now. This is what you have been waiting for. Here is exactly how today unfolds. Right now, this morning, we have a lot of rain and thunderstorms across the eastern half of the country. Most of these are not producing severe weather yet, but 2 areas are already showing signs of intensification. Along the Mississippi River Valley, from Memphis, Tennessee, down through Jackson, Mississippi, over to Shreveport, Louisiana, and Little Rock, Arkansas, we are already seeing isolated damaging winds and a low-end tornado threat. This will continue through the lunch hour. Meanwhile, up in the Ohio Valley, we are seeing scattered storms producing isolated wind damage and some hail. Louisville, Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky, Charleston, West Virginia, Huntington, West Virginia. These areas are seeing activity right now, but the real show has not started yet. By 1 o'clock this afternoon Eastern Time, things start to change rapidly. A warm sector is going to try to build across southern Ohio and West Virginia. This is critical because this warm sector is what fuels the discrete supercell thunderstorms that produce the strongest tornadoes. If you live in Chillicothe, Ohio, Parkersburg, West Virginia, Marietta, Ohio, Athens, Ohio, this is your window to be on highest alert. Between 1 and 3 o'clock this afternoon, any discrete storms that fire in this warm sector will have the capability of producing strong tornadoes. I cannot stress this enough. The environment is extremely favorable. Dew points are in the low 60s, which is almost unheard of for early March in the Northeast. We simply do not see this type of moisture this far north during this time of year. It is historic. And that moisture is rocket fuel for severe thunderstorms. Now let me jump down to the deep south. By 2 to 3 o'clock this afternoon Central Time, the severe weather threat ramps up significantly across Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Arkansas, Dallas, Texas, Shreveport, Louisiana, Jackson, Mississippi, Little Rock, Arkansas, Monroe, Louisiana, Tyler, Texas, Texarkana, Texas, and Arkansas. All of these cities will be seeing an increasing risk of damaging winds and isolated tornadoes through the afternoon. Here is your peak severe weather window, 4 o'clock this afternoon Eastern Time. This is when I expect the highest concentration of severe weather reports. In the Ohio Valley, we will still have discrete and semi-discrete supercells capable of producing tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail. Columbus, Ohio, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Wheeling, West Virginia, Youngstown, Ohio, Akron, Ohio, Canton, Ohio. All of these cities are in the bullseye during this 4 to 7 o'clock window. And do not miss this next part because this is the plot twist that a lot of people are not expecting. Even after sunset, the tornado threat does not go away. The high-resolution models are showing 4 to 5 different rotating storms across Pennsylvania around 7 o'clock this evening. Even though the sun will be down, there is a real nocturnal tornado threat. Allentown, Pennsylvania, Scranton, Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Reading, Pennsylvania, State College, Pennsylvania. Your severe weather window extends into the evening hours tonight. Meanwhile, the Deep South is going to be dealing with storms well into the night. The negative tilt of the upper-level system is going to keep intensifying storms across the South all through the evening and overnight. Memphis, Tennessee, Birmingham, Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama, Mobile, Alabama, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Meridian, Mississippi, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Gulfport, Mississippi, Pensacola, Florida. These cities need to be prepared for severe weather from late afternoon all the way through midnight. The tornado threat should begin to decrease around 7 to 9 o'clock this evening in the Ohio Valley and the Northeast. By 10 to 11 o'clock tonight, the strong tornado threat should be done across the board, but isolated embedded tornadoes and lines of thunderstorms will continue near the Gulf Coast through midnight. Southern Alabama and the Florida Panhandle, that means Dothan, Alabama, Panama City, Florida, Tallahassee, Florida, Fort Walton Beach, Florida. You are on watch through the early morning hours. Now, I know what you are thinking. That sounds terrible enough. When does it end? And this is where I have to be honest with you because the answer is not what you want to hear. It does not end. Not yet. Do not skip ahead because at the 5-minute mark, I am going to reveal exactly what the models are showing for the massive storm system arriving Sunday into Monday. And it involves something we have not seen in a very long time. Feet of snow, not inches. Feet. 3 to 4 feet in some locations, and the coldest temperatures of the entire late winter season. That is coming up in just a moment. But first, let me tell you about storm number 2. After today, as severe weather winds down by early tomorrow morning, we get a brief break. Very brief. By Thursday evening, a clipper system drops down from Canada and starts impacting the northern plains and the upper Midwest. Fargo, North Dakota, Bismarck, North Dakota, Grand Forks, North Dakota, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Minneapolis, Minnesota, St. Paul, Minnesota, Duluth, Minnesota, Rochester, Minnesota. These cities will start seeing snowfall Thursday evening. Now, this clipper is not the main event, but do not dismiss it. It is bringing snowfall to the Dakotas and Minnesota, with heavier amounts over the higher elevations of the northern Rockies. Billings, Montana, Bozeman, Montana, Helena, Montana, Missoula, Montana. These mountain communities could see significant accumulations. But here is what makes this clipper dangerous. It is packing very strong winds. We are talking about 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts accompanying the snow. And when you combine heavy snow with winds like that, you get blizzard conditions, reduced visibility, drifting snow, dangerous travel. This is not your average light snow event. By Friday morning, this clipper intensifies as it moves across the Great Lakes. Detroit, Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Traverse City, Michigan, Green Bay, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Chicago, Illinois, South Bend, Indiana, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Toledo, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, Erie, Pennsylvania, Buffalo, New York, Rochester, New York, Syracuse, New York. All of these Great Lakes cities are going to feel the impact of this system Friday into Friday evening. The wind gusts with this clipper are still showing 50 to 60 miles per hour across the Great Lakes region. Even if you do not get heavy snow, those winds alone can cause problems. power outages, downed tree limbs, difficult driving conditions. If you are in the Great Lakes region, Friday is a day to be prepared. And then this clipper pushes into the northeast. Albany, New York, Hartford, Connecticut, Burlington, Vermont, Portland, Maine, Boston, Massachusetts, Providence, Rhode Island, Manchester, New Hampshire, Concord, New Hampshire. Friday evening into Saturday, you will see snow and strong winds from this system. Some light to moderate snowfall with pockets of heavier snow in the typical lake effect and elevation-enhanced areas. All right, now we have reached the 5-minute mark. And this is what I promised you earlier. Let me tell you about the third storm, and this one is the monster. If you thought the first two storms were bad, this third system coming Sunday into Monday is on a completely different level. The models have been consistent on this, and with each update, it keeps getting stronger. This is going to be a major multi-hazard storm system that brings severe weather, a significant winter storm, and a brutal Arctic blast all wrapped into one package. Let me start with the setup. Saturday evening, a new storm system begins to organize over the northern Rockies. Boise, Idaho, Pocatello, Idaho, Idaho Falls, Idaho, Missoula, Montana, Butte, Montana, Great Falls, Montana, Casper, Wyoming, Sheridan, Wyoming. These areas are the first to see the impacts, with heavy snow developing Saturday evening. By Sunday morning, this system has exploded in strength. A powerful low-pressure center develops over the Central Plains, and the pressure drops rapidly. We are talking about a central pressure near 976 millibars. To put that in perspective, that is comparable to a Category 1 hurricane. This is an incredibly intense storm system for any time of year, let alone mid-March. Now here is where it gets complicated, because this storm has two very different faces depending on which side of it you are on. If you are south and east of the low-pressure center, you are dealing with severe weather. Warm, moist air surging northward from the Gulf of Mexico. Dew points in the 60s, strong wind shear, all the ingredients for another round of severe thunderstorms, including damaging winds, large hail, and yes, more tornadoes. The severe weather zone for Sunday extends from central Illinois down through Missouri, Arkansas, and into northeast Texas. Springfield, Illinois. Peoria, Illinois, Decatur, Illinois, Champaign, Illinois, Bloomington, Illinois, St. Louis, Missouri, Columbia, Missouri, Jefferson City, Missouri, Springfield, Missouri, Joplin, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, Topeka, Kansas, Wichita, Kansas, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Fort Smith, Arkansas, Fayetteville, Arkansas, Jonesboro, Arkansas. These cities need to be on alert for severe weather Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening. But if you are north and west of the low-pressure center, you are dealing with a completely different beast, a massive winter storm. And not just a light dusting, the models are showing feet of snow. Let me repeat that, feet of snow, not inches, feet. The latest model runs, including the European model, which is widely considered the most accurate global weather model, are showing 3 to 4 feet of snow across portions of Wisconsin and Michigan. 3 to 4 feet. In mid-March. Let that sink in for a moment. Let me give you the city-by-city breakdown for this incredible snowfall. Starting in the northern Rockies and northern plains. Billings, Montana, Rapid City, South Dakota, Pierre, South Dakota. These areas will see the snow start Saturday evening and continue into Sunday. Expect 12 to 24 inches in the higher elevations, with lower amounts in the valleys. Moving into the upper Midwest. Fargo, North Dakota, Grand Forks, North Dakota, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Aberdeen, South Dakota, Watertown, South Dakota. Snow begins Sunday morning. Heavy bands of snow will set up by Sunday afternoon. Expect 18 to 30 inches in some of these locations, with the heaviest amounts north and west of the low-pressure track. Now the heart of the storm. This is where the most extreme snowfall totals are expected. Green Bay, Wisconsin, Appleton, Wisconsin, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, Wausau, Wisconsin, Stevens Point, Wisconsin, Eau Claire, Wisconsin, La Crosse, Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin. These Wisconsin cities are ground zero for this storm. The European model is showing 36 to 48 inches of snow. I know that sounds unbelievable, but the model has been remarkably consistent on this. Snow begins Sunday morning and does not let up until Monday evening across the lake in Michigan, Traverse City, Michigan, Petoskey, Michigan, Gaylord, Michigan, Marquette, Michigan, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, Escanaba, Michigan, Manistee, Michigan, Ludington, Michigan, Cadillac, Michigan. These areas could also see 2 to 3 feet of snow, especially with lake enhancement adding to the totals. Even the southern portions of these states will see significant snow. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Racine, Wisconsin, Kenosha, Wisconsin, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Kalamazoo, Michigan, Lansing, Michigan, Ann Arbor, Michigan, Flint, Michigan, Saginaw, Michigan, Bay City, Michigan. These cities are looking at 12 to 24 inches. Further east, the storm impacts continue. Detroit, Michigan, Toledo, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, Akron, Ohio, Youngstown, Ohio, Erie, Pennsylvania, Buffalo, New York, Rochester, New York, Syracuse, New York, Utica, New York. Snow amounts in this zone will range from 8 to 18 inches depending on the exact storm track, and the Northeast is not out of the woods either. Albany, New York, Binghamton, New York, Scranton, Pennsylvania, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, Hartford, Connecticut, Springfield, Massachusetts, Worcester, Massachusetts, Boston, Massachusetts, Providence, Rhode Island, Portland, Maine, Bangor, Maine, Burlington, Vermont, Montpelier, Vermont, Concord, New Hampshire, Manchester, New Hampshire. These cities could see 6 to 12 inches of snow from this system, with higher amounts along the higher elevations of the Appalachians and the Green Mountains. But here is the thing that makes this even more dangerous, and this is the twist I have been holding back. It is not just the snow, it is the wind. This storm is packing wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour across the Midwest and Great Lakes. In the higher elevations of the Rockies, we could see gusts of 90 to 100 miles per hour. Those are Category 2 hurricane-force winds. When you combine 3 to 4 feet of snow with 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, you do not just get a snowstorm. You get a full-blown blizzard, whiteout conditions, impassable roads, power outages that could last for days. This is a life-threatening situation for anyone caught outside or stranded on the roads. Let me give you the wind forecast city by city, because this matters just as much as the snow totals. Denver, Colorado. Colorado Springs, Colorado. Boulder, Colorado. Fort Collins, Colorado. Wind gusts of 60 to 80 miles per hour, especially along the Front Range and the higher elevations. This starts Saturday evening. Cheyenne, Wyoming. Laramie, Wyoming. Wind gusts potentially exceeding 90 miles per hour in the mountain passes. This is extremely dangerous for travel along Interstate 80 and Interstate 25. Omaha, Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska, Des Moines, Iowa, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Davenport, Iowa. Wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour Sunday into Monday. Minneapolis, Minnesota, St. Paul, Minnesota, Rochester, Minnesota. Wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour with heavy snow. Blizzard conditions likely. Chicago, Illinois, Rockford, Illinois. Wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour. And remember, even though Chicago might be on the rain-snow line, those winds will cause problems regardless. Green Bay, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour with the heaviest snow. This is the combination that leads to complete shutdowns. Detroit, Michigan. Grand Rapids, Michigan. Wind gusts of 45 to 55 miles per hour. Cleveland, Ohio. Buffalo, New York, Rochester, New York, Syracuse, New York. Wind gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour with heavy snow continuing into Monday. Now I need to talk about what comes after the snow, because this is the part that affects the most people. Behind this massive storm system, an Arctic air mass is plunging south out of Canada. And this is not a mild cool down. This is a full-scale Arctic invasion. Let me walk you through the temperatures day by day. Monday morning. This is when the cold really starts to bite. Fargo, North Dakota, actual temperature, -5 degrees Fahrenheit. Wind chill, -25 degrees. Minneapolis, Minnesota, actual temperature, 3 degrees. Wind chill, -15 degrees. Green Bay, Wisconsin, actual temperature, 5 degrees. Wind chill, -12 degrees. Chicago, Illinois, actual temperature, 8 degrees. Wind chill, -8 degrees. Detroit, Michigan, actual temperature, 10 degrees. Wind chill, -5 degrees. But here is what is shocking. The GFS model is taking this cold much deeper south than the European model. Look at these numbers. Kansas City, Missouri, Actual temperature Monday morning 7 degrees, wind chill -10 degrees. St. Louis, Missouri, actual temperature 9 degrees, wind chill -5 degrees. Nashville, Tennessee, actual temperature 15 degrees, wind chill 2 degrees. Memphis, Tennessee, actual temperature 18 degrees, wind chill 5 degrees. And the GFS model is even showing the cold reaching into Texas. Dallas, Texas, actual temperature Monday morning 22 degrees, wind chill 10 degrees. Now, the European model is not quite as aggressive with the cold that far south, but even by the Euro S standards, this is a significant Arctic blast. Tuesday morning, the cold deepens even further. Indianapolis, Indiana, actual temperature 4 degrees, wind chill -12 degrees. Columbus, Ohio, actual temperature 7 degrees, wind chill -8 degrees. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, actual temperature 9 degrees, wind chill -5 degrees. Louisville, Kentucky, actual temperature 11 degrees, wind chill -2 degrees. Lexington, Kentucky, actual temperature 10 degrees, wind chill -3 degrees. The Deep South does not escape either. Birmingham, Alabama, actual temperature Tuesday morning 23 degrees. Montgomery, Alabama, actual temperature 25 degrees. Atlanta, Georgia, actual temperature 22 degrees. Charlotte, North Carolina, actual temperature 19 degrees. Raleigh, North Carolina, actual temperature 21 degrees. Richmond, Virginia, actual temperature 18 degrees. Washington, District of Columbia, actual temperature 20 degrees. By Wednesday, the cold pushes further east. New York City, actual temperature 16 degrees, wind chill 2 degrees. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, actual temperature 15 degrees, wind chill 1 degree. Baltimore, Maryland, actual temperature 17 degrees, wind chill 3 degrees. Boston, Massachusetts, actual temperature 14 degrees, wind chill -3 degrees. And even the southeast feels it. Jacksonville, Florida, actual temperature Wednesday morning 33 degrees. Savannah, Georgia, actual temperature 28 degrees. Charleston, South Carolina, actual temperature 27 degrees. Wilmington, North Carolina, actual temperature 24 degrees. Norfolk, Virginia, actual temperature 22 degrees. Now, I know I just threw a lot of numbers at you, so let me put it all in context. This is mid-March. We should be talking about spring, flowers blooming, baseball starting. Instead, we are talking about negative wind chills in the Midwest, single-digit actual temperatures as far south as Missouri, and freeze warnings potentially extending all the way to the Gulf Coast. This is a late-season Arctic blast that is going to shock a lot of people who thought winter was over. Now, let me pause here and give you a piece of good news, because I did not want to go this long without offering some hope. If you love spring and warm weather, it is coming back. After this Arctic blast peaks on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, temperatures are going to start recovering rapidly. By the end of next week, we are looking at a dramatic warm-up across much of the country. Some areas in the West may even break warm temperature records before the next system moves through. But, and this is important, do not put your winter gear away just yet. And this is the part that I have been saving for the second half of this video, because there is a longer range pattern that is developing that tells us winter is not done. Our North Atlantic Oscillation Index, which is one of the key indicators for cold weather patterns across the eastern United States, is trending from neutral toward negative as we head through the end of March into April. When the North Atlantic Oscillation goes negative, it typically means blocking patterns develop over Greenland, which forces cold Arctic air to plunge southward into the eastern United States. And the models are showing this transition happening right on schedule. What does this mean for you? It means that after this brief warm-up at the end of next week, another cold blast is likely to return by the end of March. And this time, the cold could persist well into April, possibly through the middle of April or even longer. This is connected to the polar vortex, which has already split into two pieces. One of those pieces is expected to swing back around and direct its cold air right at the United States as we go through April. Now let me circle back and give you the complete timeline. I want to make sure you have everything you need to prepare no matter where you live. Let me go through this region by region. If you live in the Southern Plains and the Gulf Coast, that includes Houston, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Austin, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, Corpus Christi, Texas, Brownsville, Texas, Laredo, Texas, Lubbock, Texas, Amarillo, Texas, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Norman, Oklahoma, Lawton, Oklahoma, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana, Lake Charles, Louisiana, Lafayette, Louisiana. Your biggest concern today is severe weather, damaging winds, and isolated tornadoes through this evening. Then the Arctic cold arrives Monday into Tuesday with temperatures 30 to 40 degrees below normal. Make sure your pipes are protected. Bring pets inside. Check on elderly neighbors if you live in the Mid-South and the Tennessee Valley. That includes Nashville, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Jackson, Tennessee, Clarksville, Tennessee, Huntsville, Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama. You have a dual threat today. Severe weather with damaging winds and tornadoes possible through this evening, especially along that negative tilt axis. Then the Arctic air arrives Monday night into Tuesday. Lows in the teens and 20s. Possible record cold for mid-March if you live in the Ohio Valley. Cincinnati, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, Akron, Ohio, Toledo, Ohio, Youngstown, Ohio, Canton, Ohio, Mansfield, Ohio, Zanesville, Ohio, Chillicothe, Ohio, Indianapolis, Indiana, Fort Wayne, Indiana, South Bend, Indiana, Evansville, Indiana, Terre Haute, Indiana, Louisville, Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky, Covington, Kentucky, Bowling Green, Kentucky, Frankfort, Kentucky, Charleston, West Virginia, Huntington, West Virginia, Morgantown, West Virginia, Parkersburg, West Virginia. Today is your most dangerous day. Strong tornadoes possible this afternoon between 1 and 7 o'clock Eastern Time, damaging winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour. Have your safe room identified. Know where your nearest sturdy shelter is. Charge your phones. After the severe weather passes, you transition into the winter storm Sunday into Monday with heavy snow and bitter cold. If you live in the Northeast, New York City, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Allentown, Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Scranton, Pennsylvania, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, Reading, Pennsylvania, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, York, Pennsylvania, Baltimore, Maryland, Washington, District of Columbia, Richmond, Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia, Roanoke, Virginia, Charlottesville, Virginia, Wilmington, Delaware, Dover, Delaware, Newark, New Jersey, Trenton, New Jersey, Atlantic City, New Jersey. Today you have a wind and tornado threat through this evening. After sunset, a low-end nocturnal tornado risk continues. The severe weather should wrap up by 10 to 11 o'clock tonight. Then, the winter storm arrives late Sunday into Monday with 6 to 12 inches of snow possible and bitter cold behind it. If you live in New England, Boston, Massachusetts, Worcester, Massachusetts, Springfield, Massachusetts, Hartford, Connecticut, New Haven, Connecticut, Bridgeport, Connecticut, Providence, Rhode Island, Portland, Maine, Bangor, Maine, Augusta, Maine, Burlington, Vermont, Montpelier, Vermont, Concord, New Hampshire, Manchester, New Hampshire. Your severe weather risk today is lower but not zero. Strong winds and isolated storms through this evening. Then the Clipper brings snow Friday into Saturday. The main storm arrives late Sunday into Monday with 6 to 12 inches of snow and wind gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour. Wind chills dive below zero by Tuesday morning. If you live in the upper Midwest and Great Lakes, Minneapolis, Minnesota, St. Paul, Minnesota, Duluth, Minnesota, Rochester, Minnesota, Green Bay, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, Eau Claire, Wisconsin, La Crosse, Wisconsin, Wausau, Wisconsin, Detroit, Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Lansing, Michigan, Traverse City, Michigan, Marquette, Michigan, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, Chicago, Illinois, Rockford, Illinois. You are looking at the biggest impacts from the winter storm. The Clipper brings moderate snow and strong winds Friday. Then the main event arrives Sunday morning with heavy snow, blizzard conditions, and 3 to 4 feet of snow possible in the heaviest bands across Wisconsin and northern Michigan. This is a potentially historic snowfall event. Stock up now, get gas in your vehicles, have flashlights and batteries ready. Make sure you have food and water for at least 3 to 4 days. If you live in the northern plains, Fargo, North Dakota, Bismarck, North Dakota, Grand Forks, North Dakota, Minot, North Dakota, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Rapid City, South Dakota, Pierre, South Dakota, Aberdeen, South Dakota, you get hit by both the Clipper Thursday into Friday and the main storm Sunday into Monday. Total snow accumulations from both systems could exceed 2 to 3 feet. Wind chills could drop to -25 to -35 degrees Monday morning. This is dangerously cold. Limit your time outdoors. Make sure your furnace is working properly if you live in the Central Plains. Omaha, Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska, Des Moines, Iowa, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Iowa City, Iowa, Davenport, Iowa, Kansas City, Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri, Columbia, Missouri, Springfield, Missouri. You are right on the boundary between the severe weather and the winter storm. The southern portions of this zone may see severe weather Sunday, while the northern portions see heavy snow. Regardless of where you fall, bitter cold arrives Monday with single-digit temperatures and negative wind chills. If you live in the Rockies and Intermountain West, Denver, Colorado, Colorado Springs, Colorado, Boulder, Colorado, Fort Collins, Colorado, Pueblo, Colorado, Cheyenne, Wyoming, Casper, Wyoming, Salt Lake City, Utah, Boise, Idaho, Missoula, Montana, Billings, Montana, Great Falls, Montana, Helena, Montana, Butte, Montana, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Santa Fe, New Mexico. The winter storm impacts you first, Saturday evening into Sunday. Heavy snow in the mountains with 12 to 30 inches. Extreme winds along the Front Range and through the mountain passes. Travel will be extremely hazardous, especially along Interstate 70 in Colorado, Interstate 80 in Wyoming, and Interstate 90 in Montana. Now let me give you the complete timing summary because I know you need to plan your week. Today, Wednesday, severe weather continues across the Ohio Valley, the Northeast, the Deep South, and the Gulf Coast. Peak severe weather between 1 and 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Tornado threat decreases after 9 to 10 o'clock tonight. Severe weather wraps up near the Gulf Coast by 2 o'clock in the morning, Thursday. Brief break for most of the country. Clipper approaches the northern plains and upper Midwest by Thursday evening. Snow begins in the Dakotas and Minnesota. Friday. Clipper moves across the Great Lakes and into the Northeast. Snow and strong winds for the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, and interior Northeast. Wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour, Saturday. Clipper exits to the east. Main storm system begins organizing over the northern Rockies. Heavy snow develops over Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming by Saturday evening. Sunday. This is the big day. Main storm system rapidly intensifies over the Central Plains. Heavy snow and blizzard conditions from the northern plains through the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, and eventually into the Northeast. Severe weather from central Illinois, south through Missouri, Arkansas, and northeast Texas. The storm will be in full fury by Sunday afternoon, Monday. Storm continues to move northeast. Heavy snow continues across the Great Lakes and Northeast. Arctic air floods in behind the storm. Temperatures plummet 30 to 50 degrees in 24 hours across the central and eastern United States. Wind chills drop to dangerous levels. Tuesday. Deep cold settles in across the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Northeast. Temperatures 20 to 30 degrees below normal. Wind chills below zero across a wide area. Lingering snow showers near the Great Lakes. Wednesday. Cold air pushes into the southeast and mid-Atlantic. Freeze concerns as far south as northern Florida. Cold wind chills continue across the Midwest and Northeast Thursday. Cold begins to moderate slightly across the western portions of the country, but it stays cold in the east. Friday into next weekend. A major warm-up begins from the west and spreads east. Temperatures return to above normal by the end of next week for most of the country. But remember what I said earlier about the longer-range outlook. Do not put your winter coats away. The North Atlantic Oscillation is trending negative, and the polar vortex has split. We are likely looking at another cold blast by the end of March into April. Now let me address something that I know a lot of you are wondering about. How unusual is this? Are we supposed to be getting blizzards and Arctic cold in mid-March? The honest answer is yes, it can happen. March is actually one of the most volatile weather months of the year. The atmosphere is in transition from winter to spring patterns, and when those two regimes clash, you can get explosive storm development. The Great Blizzard of 1988 happened in March. The Superstorm of 1993, the so-called Storm of the Century, happened in March. Some of the most powerful nor'easters in history have occurred in March. So while this is certainly an impressive and impactful storm system, it is not unprecedented. What makes this one particularly noteworthy is the combination of severe weather, heavy snow, and extreme cold all from the same system. That multi-hazard aspect is what makes this so dangerous. Let me also talk about what you should be doing right now to prepare, because preparation is the key to safety. If you are in the severe weather zone today, know your safe place. An interior room on the lowest floor away from windows. A basement is ideal. If you live in a mobile home, identify a nearby sturdy structure where you can take shelter. Have your weather radio on or your phone alerts enabled. Keep your shoes near your bed tonight in case a tornado strikes while you are sleeping. If you are in the winter storm zone, charge all your devices now while you have power. Fill your vehicle's gas tank or charge your electric vehicle. Stock up on water, non-perishable food, and medications. Have extra blankets available. Know how to shut off your water if pipes freeze. Have a battery-powered radio available in case you lose power and cell service. If you are in the Arctic blast zone, protect your pipes. Let faucets drip. Open cabinet doors to allow warm air to circulate around pipes. Bring pets inside. Check on elderly neighbors and family members who live alone. If you use a space heater, keep it at least 3 feet from anything flammable and never use a stove or oven to heat your home. All right, we have covered a tremendous amount of ground in this video. Let me give you the quick summary of everything you need to know. Storm 1 is active right now. Severe weather from the Ohio Valley through the Deep South. Strong tornadoes possible this afternoon, damaging winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour. This wraps up by early tomorrow morning. Storm 2, the Clipper, arrives Thursday evening and impacts the northern plains, upper Midwest, Great Lakes, and Northeast through Friday and into Saturday. Moderate snow and strong winds. Possible blizzard conditions. Storm 3, the Monster, arrives Sunday into Monday. 3 to 4 feet of snow possible across Wisconsin and Michigan. Severe weather from Illinois to Texas. Hurricane-force wind gusts in the Rockies, followed by a brutal Arctic blast with wind chills of -15 to -25 degrees across the Midwest. And the longer-range outlook suggests another cold blast returning by the end of March into April as the polar vortex sends another lobe of cold air toward the United States. Drop a comment right now with your city and state. I want to make sure everyone has the information they need for their specific location. If you found this forecast helpful, share it with someone you care about. Send it to your family, your friends, your neighbors. Information saves lives, and with 3 major storms bearing down on the United States back to back to back, everyone needs to be prepared. Now, before I let you go, here is what is coming in the next video. Remember that warm-up I mentioned after the Arctic blast? The models are showing some areas in the West could see temperatures 30 degrees above normal. We are talking about potential record-breaking warmth. And right on the heels of that, the end of March pattern change could bring yet another round of winter weather to the central and eastern United States. Some of the models are even hinting at the possibility of severe weather returning during the first week of April. It is going to be an incredibly active stretch of weather, and you are going to want to see exactly how it unfolds. That breakdown is coming in the next video. Stay safe out there, be prepared, look out for each other, and whatever you do, do not let your guard down. This storm system is not done yet, and the ones behind it are even stronger. We have a long week ahead, but if you stay informed and stay prepared, you will get through it. If you live in any of the cities I mentioned today, make sure your emergency plans are ready. Talk to your family about what to do if severe weather strikes. Make sure you have multiple ways to receive warnings. Do not rely solely on outdoor sirens. Have a weather app, have a weather radio, have someone who can call you. Redundancy saves lives. Comment below with where you are watching from. I read every single comment, and if you need a specific forecast for your town or city, just ask. We are all in this together, and together we get through whatever the atmosphere throws at us. Now, I want to go even deeper on something that I think a lot of forecasters are overlooking, and this could be the most important part of this entire video. The freezing rain and ice. Between the heavy snow zone to the north and the severe weather zone to the south, there is a narrow corridor where the precipitation type on Sunday is going to be freezing rain and sleet. And if you have ever experienced an ice storm, you know that this can be the most dangerous precipitation type of all. This ice zone on Sunday is setting up across a corridor that includes Des Moines, Iowa, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Davenport, Iowa, the Quad Cities area, Dubuque, Iowa, Waterloo, Iowa, and portions of southern Minnesota and southern Wisconsin. A quarter-inch of ice does not sound like much, but let me tell you what a quarter-inch of ice actually does. It coats every surface: power lines, tree branches, roads, sidewalks, your windshield, your front steps. Power lines can only handle about half an inch of ice before they start snapping. Trees, especially ones that have not been properly trimmed, will start losing branches at a quarter inch. And on the roads, freezing rain is invisible. It looks wet, but it is solid ice. You cannot stop. You cannot steer. It is the most dangerous driving condition that exists. If you are in this ice zone, Sunday is the day to stay home. Do not travel. Period. There is no appointment, no obligation, no errand that is worth risking your life on ice-covered roads. Stock up on Saturday. Plan to be home Sunday and Monday. If you lose power, and there is a real chance you will, you need to have a plan. How will you heat your home? How will you cook food? How will you charge your phone? Think about these things now while you still have time. Let me also give you more detail on the severe weather timing for the Deep South, because I know a lot of you in that region are watching this right now, starting with Texas, Lufkin, Texas, Nacogdoches, Texas, Tyler, Texas, Longview, Texas, Marshall, Texas, Paris, Texas, Texarkana, Texas. Your severe weather window today is from noon to 8 o'clock this evening Central Time. The primary threats are damaging winds of 50 to 65 miles per hour and isolated tornadoes. The storms will be moving from west to east at approximately 40 miles per hour, so any severe weather in your area will pass relatively quickly, but you need to be ready when it arrives. Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, Monroe, Louisiana, Alexandria, Louisiana, Lafayette, Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Lake Charles, Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana, Houma, Louisiana, Hammond, Louisiana. Your severe weather window extends from this afternoon through midnight. The earlier portion of the threat will feature discrete supercells capable of producing tornadoes. By evening, the storms will merge into a squall line with the primary threat transitioning to damaging straight-line winds. New Orleans, your window is later from about 7 o'clock this evening through 2 o'clock in the morning. Do not go to bed tonight without a way to receive warnings. Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi, Meridian, Mississippi, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Gulfport, Mississippi, Biloxi, Mississippi, Vicksburg, Mississippi, Tupelo, Mississippi, Oxford, Mississippi, Columbus, Mississippi, Starkville, Mississippi. Your severe weather window is from 3 o'clock this afternoon through midnight Central Time. The tornado threat is elevated across this entire state. Multiple supercells are expected to track from west to east across Mississippi during the late afternoon and evening hours. If you hear a tornado warning for your county, take it seriously. Go to your safe room immediately. Do not wait to see the tornado. Do not go outside to look. When a warning is issued, act. Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama, Mobile, Alabama, Dothan, Alabama, Anniston, Alabama, Gadsden, Alabama, Decatur, Alabama, Florence, Alabama, Auburn, Alabama, Opelika, Alabama. Your severe weather window starts around 4 o'clock this afternoon for the western portion of the state and continues through the early morning hours for the eastern portion. The line of storms will sweep from west to east across the entire state. Wind gusts of 60 to 75 miles per hour are expected, especially along and south of the Interstate 20 corridor. Tornadoes can be embedded in these lines and are extremely difficult to see at night. Again, have multiple ways to receive warnings. A weather radio that will wake you up is worth its weight in gold. Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Jackson, Tennessee, Clarksville, Tennessee, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Cookeville, Tennessee, Johnson City, Tennessee, Kingsport, Tennessee. Your severe weather window is one of the longest in the country today. Western Tennessee, your window is from noon to 8 o'clock this evening. Middle Tennessee, including Nashville, from 3 o'clock this afternoon to 10 o'clock tonight. Eastern Tennessee, from 5 o'clock this afternoon through midnight. The negative tilt of the upper-level system is going to keep these storms energized as they move across the state, and the tornado threat is elevated across all of Tennessee today. Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky, Bowling Green, Kentucky, Paducah, Kentucky, Owensboro, Kentucky, Covington, Kentucky, Frankfort, Kentucky, Henderson, Kentucky, Hopkinsville, Kentucky, Elizabethtown, Kentucky, Western Kentucky. Your severe weather window is from noon to 6 o'clock this evening. Central and Eastern Kentucky, from 2 o'clock this afternoon to 8 o'clock this evening. The strongest tornado parameters are showing up across southern Kentucky this afternoon, particularly along the Tennessee border. If you are south of the Western Kentucky Parkway, you need to be especially vigilant today. Now let me circle back to the Ohio Valley one more time because there is something happening on the models that concerns me. The significant tornado parameter values are peaking between 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock Eastern Time across a very specific corridor. That corridor runs from southwestern Ohio through northern Kentucky and into southwestern Pennsylvania. Within this corridor, the parameter values are reaching 4 to 5. That is extremely high. What does that mean in practical terms? It means that any discrete supercell that develops in this corridor has a very high probability of producing a tornado and a meaningful probability of producing a strong tornado rated EF2 or higher. The ingredients are all there: surface dew points in the low 60s, strong directional wind shear, a jet stream overhead that is accelerating the upper-level winds, low-level jet strengthening through the afternoon. Everything is coming together in this relatively narrow corridor. The cities that are most directly in this corridor include Chillicothe, Ohio, Wilmington, Ohio, Hillsborough, Ohio, Point Pleasant, West Virginia, Gallipolis, Ohio, Ironton, Ohio, Ashland, Kentucky, Huntington, West Virginia, Maysville, Kentucky, and then as the system progresses eastward, the corridor extends into Morgantown, West Virginia, Uniontown, Pennsylvania, Connellsville, Pennsylvania, Washington, Pennsylvania, Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. If you live in any of these communities, your 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock window this afternoon is the time to be on highest alert. Have your safe room identified and ready. Have shoes and a flashlight in your safe room. If you have a bike helmet or football helmet, put it in your safe room too. Head injuries are one of the leading causes of tornado fatalities, and a helmet can save your life. Let me also give you a quick update on what happened yesterday, because the damage assessment is still ongoing and the numbers are staggering. The violent tornado that struck Kankakee, Illinois was likely an EF3 or higher based on preliminary damage surveys. The path length appears to be over 20 miles. Over 20 miles of destruction. Think about that. If you drove 20 miles in a straight line from your home, think about how many communities, how many neighborhoods, how many schools and churches and businesses you would pass through. Now imagine all of that being hit by a tornado with winds exceeding 150 miles per hour. In addition to Kankakee, we had significant tornado damage reported in Aroma Park, Illinois, Sheldon, Illinois, Watseka, Illinois, Kentland, Indiana. Multiple communities in southeastern Iowa also reported tornado damage, though those are still being assessed. The hail damage is equally remarkable. Hailstones measuring 6 inches in diameter were reported in Illinois. 6-inch hail can punch through a car windshield. It can punch through a roof. It can kill livestock. It can severely injure or kill a person caught outside. The 3- and 4-inch hail reports were widespread across a broad swath of eastern Iowa, central and eastern Illinois, and western Indiana. This brings the total number of tornado reports from yesterday's outbreak to over 16, and that number will continue to climb as more surveys are completed. The total number of severe weather reports, including wind and hail, is well over 100. This was a significant severe weather event, and unfortunately, we are not done yet. Let me remind you of something I said at the very beginning of this video. This is not one storm. This is 3 storms back to back to back. Yesterday's outbreak was the opening act. Today's severe weather is Act 2. The Clipper Thursday into Friday is the intermission. And the monster storm Sunday into Monday is the grand finale. Each one is bringing its own set of dangers, and the cumulative impact is going to be felt across the entire country. For those of you who have been watching this channel for a while, you know that I do not use the word historic lightly. But I think when we look back at this week, a month from now, a year from now, we may be talking about a historically active stretch of weather across the United States. The combination of tornado outbreaks, a potentially historic late-season blizzard, and a brutal Arctic blast all within the span of 7 to 8 days is remarkable. I want to go back to the snow totals one more time because the latest model run that just came in is showing something extraordinary. The 0Z run of the European model is now showing a major snowstorm with 3 to 4 feet of snow from Wisconsin into Michigan. And the GFS model is generally agreeing, though with some differences in the exact placement of the heaviest bands. If this verifies, and I need to emphasize that word, if this verifies, this would be one of the heaviest March snowstorms in recorded history for parts of Wisconsin and Michigan. The current record for 24-hour snowfall in Green Bay is 22 inches, set back in January of 1999. If we are talking about 3 to 4 feet over a 36 to 48-hour period, that would shatter records. Now, I am not fully sold on those extreme totals just yet. We are still 6 days out from the event, and a lot can change. The exact track of the low-pressure center makes an enormous difference. A shift of just 50 miles north or south changes everything, from who gets the heaviest snow to where the rain-snow line sets up to where the ice accumulates. But the trend has been consistent, and multiple model runs are agreeing on the general setup. So while the specific totals may change, the overall message is clear. A major winter storm is coming, and it is going to be significant. Let me talk about one more thing before we wrap up, and this is the impact on travel. If you have travel plans this week, you need to be flexible. Let me break it down by day. Today and tonight, if you are traveling through the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, or the Deep South, you are going to encounter severe weather. Flights at airports in Columbus, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Nashville, Birmingham, Atlanta, and Charlotte could all be impacted by the severe weather today. Delays and cancellations are very possible. Thursday, travel should be relatively calm across most of the country. This is your window to get where you need to go. Friday. If you are traveling through the Great Lakes or the Northeast, expect delays. The Clipper system will bring snow and strong winds that could impact flights at Chicago O'Hare, Chicago Midway, Detroit Metro, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Milwaukee, Cleveland, Buffalo, and most of the major Northeast airports. Saturday. Improving conditions across the Northeast. Storm organizing in the West. Flights through Denver could be impacted by strong winds Saturday evening. Sunday and Monday. This is when travel becomes extremely dangerous to impossible across a huge portion of the country. Do not travel through the upper Midwest or Great Lakes on Sunday or Monday unless it is an absolute emergency. Interstate 90, Interstate 94, Interstate 43 in Wisconsin, Interstate 75 in Michigan, Interstate 69 in Michigan. All of these corridors could be completely shut down by the blizzard. Airports that will likely see massive disruptions on Sunday and Monday include Minneapolis-St. Paul, Milwaukee, Madison, Green Bay, Detroit, Grand Rapids, Chicago O'Hare, Chicago Midway, Cleveland, Buffalo, and potentially the major New York area airports and Boston Logan by Monday. If you have a flight on Sunday or Monday, check with your airline now about changing it. Many airlines will issue travel waivers ahead of major storms that allow you to rebook without fees. Take advantage of that. A delayed trip is inconvenient. Being stranded in an airport for 3 days is miserable. Now, there is one more region I need to address, and I apologize for not getting to you sooner. The Southeast. If you live in Georgia, the Carolinas, Virginia, or even northern Florida, you might be thinking that you are in the clear. You are not entirely. Atlanta, Georgia, Macon, Georgia, Augusta, Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, Athens, Georgia, Columbus, Georgia, Albany, Georgia. Your severe weather threat today is lower than the Deep South states to your west, but it is not zero. Scattered storms with gusty winds are possible this afternoon and evening. Your bigger concern is the Arctic blast arriving Monday night into Tuesday. Atlanta could see temperatures drop into the low 20s by Tuesday morning. If you have outdoor plants that you have already put out for spring, bring them in or cover them. This freeze could damage or kill tender vegetation. Charlotte, North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, Durham, North Carolina, Greensboro, North Carolina, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Fayetteville, North Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina, Wilmington, North Carolina. Your severe weather threat today is mainly along your western border, but the cold is coming for everyone. Asheville and the mountain communities could see temperatures in the single digits by Tuesday morning. Even Raleigh and Charlotte will see temperatures in the upper teens. Columbia, South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. The cold air will reach you by Tuesday, with temperatures dropping into the mid-20s. This far south, that is a hard freeze, and it can cause significant damage to agriculture and exposed plumbing. Richmond, Virginia, Virginia Beach, Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia, Newport News, Virginia, Hampton, Virginia, Lynchburg, Virginia, Danville, Virginia, Fredericksburg, Virginia. You have a severe weather threat this evening, mainly wind, with the cold arriving Monday night. Temperatures by Tuesday morning could drop into the teens across the western portions of the state and into the low 20s closer to the coast. And yes, even Florida needs to pay attention. Jacksonville, Florida, Tallahassee, Florida, Pensacola, Florida, Gainesville, Florida, Ocala, Florida. The Florida Panhandle has a severe weather threat tonight into the early morning hours tomorrow. Pensacola and Panama City, you could see damaging winds and an isolated tornado between midnight and 4 o'clock in the morning. Then the cold arrives by Wednesday. Tallahassee could drop to the upper 20s. Jacksonville to the low 30s. Even Orlando and Tampa might see temperatures in the upper 30s to low 40s by Wednesday morning. For southern Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, you will feel the chill but should stay above freezing. All right, I think we have covered just about everything you need to know. But before I give you my final thought, let me address a few more areas that I have not covered yet. If you live in the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon, Spokane, Washington, Boise, Idaho, Sacramento, California, San Francisco, California, Los Angeles, California, San Diego, California. You might be watching all of this and thinking, none of this affects me. And for the most part, you are right about this particular storm system. The severe weather, the blizzard, and the Arctic blast are all focused on the central and eastern United States. However, the dramatic warm-up that follows this Arctic blast is going to hit the west first. Temperatures across the Pacific Northwest and the Intermountain West could soar 20 to 30 degrees above normal by the middle to end of next week. That sounds pleasant, but if you are in the higher elevations, rapid warming after heavy snowfall means one thing: avalanche risk. If you ski, snowboard, or recreate in the backcountry, be extremely cautious as temperatures swing wildly over the next 2 weeks. Also, rapid snowmelt can lead to localized flooding, especially in the mountain valleys. For the Southwest: Phoenix, Arizona; Tucson, Arizona; Las Vegas, Nevada; Albuquerque, New Mexico; Santa Fe, New Mexico; El Paso, Texas. You will feel the edge of the Arctic blast by Monday and Tuesday. Phoenix could see overnight lows in the upper 30s, which is cold for this time of year. El Paso could drop into the mid-20s. Albuquerque and Santa Fe expect temperatures in the teens overnight Monday and Tuesday. Protect your pipes and your plants. Now let me give you my preparation checklist one more time because I really want this to stick. Think of it as 5 categories. Category 1, information. Make sure you have at least 3 ways to receive weather warnings. Your smartphone with weather alerts enabled. A National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration weather radio with battery backup. And a friend or family member who can call you. Do not rely on outdoor tornado sirens as your only warning system. They are designed for people who are outdoors, not for waking you up in the middle of the night. Category 2, shelter. Know your safe place in your home for tornadoes. Interior room, lowest floor, away from windows. A basement is ideal. A closet or bathroom in the center of your home is the next best option. If you live in a mobile home or manufactured home, identify a nearby sturdy building where you can take shelter before the storms arrive. Do not wait until a warning is issued to leave your mobile home. Leave when the watch is issued. Category 3, supplies, water. At least 1 gallon per person per day for 3 days. Non-perishable food, flashlights and extra batteries, a first aid kit, any medications you take regularly. Cash, because credit card machines do not work without power. A full tank of gas in your vehicle or a fully charged electric vehicle. Extra blankets and warm clothing. Category 4, communication. Make sure your family has a plan. Where will you meet if you get separated? Who is your out-of-state contact person? Do your children know what to do if a tornado warning is issued while they are at school? Have you talked to your elderly parents or grandparents about their plan? Category 5, property protection. Secure anything outdoors that can become a projectile in high winds. Patio furniture, trash cans, decorations, potted plants. If you are in the blizzard zone, make sure your snow removal equipment is ready and accessible. If you are in the Arctic blast zone, know where your water shutoff valve is in case a pipe bursts. Open cabinet doors under sinks to let warm air circulate around the pipes. Let faucets drip at a slow, steady rate. I know that is a lot of information, and it might feel overwhelming. But here is the thing about severe weather preparation. It takes very little time to do, and the consequences of not doing it can be devastating. 30 minutes of preparation today could save your life, save your family's lives, and save you thousands of dollars in property damage. That is the best investment of 30 minutes you will ever make. Now, let me give you one more thing before my final thought. I want to talk about what happens after all of this is over, because I think it is important to have something to look forward to After the Arctic blast peaks on Tuesday and Wednesday, a dramatic warm-up begins. By Thursday and Friday of next week, temperatures across the Midwest will climb from the single digits all the way back into the 50s. By the following weekend, we could see 60s and even 70s returning to the Ohio Valley and the Mid-Atlantic. The West is going to warm up even faster, with some areas potentially challenging all-time warm temperature records for March. Now, here is the big question. Is this the last Arctic blast of the season? And the answer, unfortunately, is probably not. The polar vortex has split, and one of those lobes is expected to swing back over North America as we head through the end of March into April. The North Atlantic Oscillation Index is trending toward negative values, which historically correlates with cold outbreaks across the eastern United States. So while we will get a taste of spring over the next week or two, do not be surprised if winter comes knocking one more time before it is truly done. And that actually leads me into what I am going to cover in the next video. The pattern change at the end of March could bring not only another cold blast, but also another round of severe weather. Some of the longer range models are hinting at a very active severe weather pattern developing during the first week of April. If that verifies, we could be looking at another significant tornado outbreak just a few weeks from now. I will break all of that down in the next video, along with the exact timing of the warm-up and how long it is expected to last. Now, here is my final thought. When I look at the setup for this week, I see an atmosphere that is in turmoil. The jet stream is amplified, meaning the peaks and valleys are extreme. When the jet stream gets this amplified, you get extreme weather on both sides, record warmth in some areas, extreme cold in others, tornado outbreaks followed by blizzards. This is the atmosphere in transition, and the transition from winter to spring is never smooth. The good news is that after this incredibly active week, the pattern does relax. Spring will arrive, warmer weather will return, but it may take until the second or third week of April before winter truly loosens its grip on the central and eastern United States. In the meantime, stay prepared, stay informed, and most importantly, stay safe. Drop your city and state in the comments right now. I want to make sure every single person watching this has the specific forecast they need for their location. Whether you are in Topeka, Kansas, Wichita Falls, Texas, Terre Haute, Indiana, Wheeling, West Virginia, Marquette, Michigan, Portland, Maine, Jacksonville, Florida, or anywhere in between. Tell me where you are, and I will make sure you have what you need to stay safe. Share this video with your friends, your family, your coworkers, anyone who lives in the affected areas. Send it in a text message, post it on your social media, email it to your parents. Information saves lives, and with 3 major storms bearing down on the United States back to back, everyone needs to be prepared. The next 48 hours are critical. The next 7 days could be historic. And I am not just saying that for dramatic effect. When you look at the raw data, the model output, the atmospheric parameters, everything is pointing toward an exceptionally dangerous and impactful week of weather across the United States. From violent tornadoes to a potentially record-breaking blizzard to an Arctic blast that will make you forget it is supposed to be spring. This is the real deal. Stay alert, stay prepared, take care of each other, and I will see you in the next video with the full breakdown of what comes after the Arctic blast, including that dramatic warm-up and the potential for another severe weather outbreak in early April. Trust me, the pattern that is developing for late March and early April is fascinating.